Hello, Jimmy Deaners. Welcome to the first ever review on this channel. I decided to do it outside in the wilderness because I thought that seemed kind of awesome. Today we're going to be reviewing Daddy Longlegs, but it's actually just called Longlegs, but I do like inserting the daddy in the front. So my first exposure to this movie, I watched the trailer like a couple months ago, and I don't remember anything from the trailer. I just remember I really liked the vibe quite a bit. But other than that, I didn't know anything about the movie going in. And then like the day before I saw it, I learned that Nick Cage was in it, and I was like, okay, and then I have to go to it on premiere. So I went to it on premiere, and I went into the theater with a backpack because that's all that I had to. I had no other choice. And so I put the backpack behind the counter. So they held my backpack hostage, which was kind of messed up. And then I saw the movie. So, okay, now I'll talk about the movie now. So I'm probably gonna go from positives to negatives. And I think I'm gonna try to keep it spoiler free. So we'll see how that works out. The positives I'll say is the setting of the movie was really, really good. It was like a small town in the fall, cloudy. It was set in the past. I don't know the years. I know they put a specific president on the wall at some point in the movie, so you can be like, oh, okay, that's the time period that the movie takes place. But I can't remember exactly when, but it's in the past. So there's like a nostalgic feel to it. The setting is really good, in my opinion. And any of the horror sequences, they do a good job of like setting up that atmosphere. There's like one scene that's outside in the dark, and I remember watching it and just thinking like, how did they like film that? Because it's just like complete like darkness, but you can like see everything in detail, but it's also dark, and it gives you really good fall vibes. The cinematography was also quite nice in the movie. It's a lot of just like fixed still shots, just like cutting between shots very abruptly, which like does lend itself well to horror. I will say, so the movie is like, it's like kind of a detective movie, in which like you're in the place of a detective and you're trying to figure out this crime, but it's not like the most easy to follow exactly the stuff that she's figuring out, especially when it's like done through time lapse. So what it ends up happening is you're kind of just like listening to what the characters are saying, and you're like, okay, I trust that what they're saying is true, and you kind of just go along with it. But on the other hand, it's also kind of like it's like part horror movie, right? So it's like a half dived into detective movie, half attempted horror movie, because in the horror aspect, like it tries to set up all these like eerie things, but I feel like there's not a lot of payoffs. I mean, when you're watching a lot of the horror scenes, it builds up so much tension, and you're expecting something to happen, which I'm sure is intentional, and then nothing happens, which I'm sure is also intentional. It's supposed to be like, see, look, I made you scared that entire scene without doing anything, which is true. But for me, it's like when I watch those scenes, I'm excited for something to happen. I'm not saying it has to be a jump scare. I'm just saying like I was excited while watching those scenes for something spooky to happen. But oftentimes nothing really did happen. Or like the juicy part that would have been really scary kind of gets set to the side. There's a main character named Longlegs, which is played by Nick Cage, which is a good, like, powerful character in a horror movie. Like, a lot of horror movies, I think in general, but also very recently, they'll have like a central evil character or horror character that just like, they're a very powerful character, and I don't mean that exclusively in the terms of like, they're strong. I mean like they're powerful, as in they have like a powerful presence, and they're a powerful presence in the plot. So I thought they did that pretty well in this movie, although I feel like Longlegs could have been a little bit more maybe intimidating. I don't know. That's just my thought. There's a scene where like there's like a teenager that just makes fun of Longlegs, and then he just got owned. I mean, there's really no way around it. But in general, it's a good performance. So, you know, with it being a detective movie, it's all supposed to be building towards this, like, I don't want to say necessarily a twist, but kind of like the reveal of what's going on. And in my personal opinion, the big epic reveal of like, or explanation of like, this is what's going on, this is who Longlegs is, isn't that interesting. And it's also not very unique. I feel like if you're watching a movie like this, which is a very like unique genre, because it's not just horror movie, like with the cinematography that they try to do, I would have expected a more unique or sinister or eerie like plot that's going on, but it's actually pretty basic. Like, yes, it's messed up, and like, yes, it's kind of morbid, but I almost feel like I've seen this exact same like general plot happen in other movies before. So the big, resolution to the whole detective thing, it was like, oh, it's not that much of an epic reveal. The way it connects to the main character is pretty cool, I will say. And I think the ending's quite nice. I'm trying to think of what I can say without spoiling it. Okay, we'll have, this is a spoiler section. We'll have a spoiler. This is now the spoiler section. Okay. The family that dies at the end. That was, to me, that was very obvious, because they're talking about this murderer. He's killing families specifically with mothers, or mother, a father, and a child, and then proceed to immediately show a family with a mother, a father, and a child, like for really no other reason. Like the dude, I can't remember the guy's name, but the main officer, male officer, was like, no, I'm forcing you to come in and meet my family. And I remember while I was watching it, like, there's really no story reason for that to happen other than I want you to introduce you to the family because they're going to experience the same murderous fate later. But I wish there was more like horror with Longlegs. He's just like an eerie presence, but there's no like really like any horror scenes with him. I wanted to be like, I don't know, I guess I wanted to be him to be like a scary character there, but it didn't really happen that much. Yeah, so the plot being Longlegs makes a doll that is then given to a family, and the doll's possessed, and then the possession of the doll kind of seeps into the family and makes them all like kill each other. It's basically just like haunted doll given to families. Why? Literally, why is just hail Satan. There's no other reason. It's not like, they mentioned a cult at one point, which I thought was interesting. I was like, a cult, like those can get really like morbid. And then it just kind of ends up being, oh no, just hail Satan. That's it. Oh, so there's nothing like special about you. You just make dolls and then you say hail Satan at the end, and then it's like, I guess Satan is in the dolls now because you, I guess, worship him. But they don't really show any of Longlegs really worshiping Satan. So it just comes across as a guy who makes dolls, and I guess the dolls get possessed with demonic powers or whatever. So yeah, I thought that was boring. I thought the movie there wasn't too many curveballs. It was like a relatively predictable movie, like as it went on. But in general, it was an entertaining movie. I feel like I'm shitting on it a little bit. At the end of the day, it was still an entertaining movie. Like, it kept my attention. I thought Longlegs was entertaining enough, and the setting to me was, I just really enjoy that setting. And I'll be honest with you. I almost feel like the movie could have been more fit if it was just all of it was a 4:3 ratio. I almost feel like that would have been a good idea. But yeah, definitely an inspiration I'll take from this movie is the cinematography and the setting. So I'm gonna give this movie 3.5 out of 5. At the end of the day, the movie isn't gonna stick with me. I'm not gonna remember this movie for long after having watched it. It's going to leave my mind, like in 6 months from now, I will have completely forgot about this movie. It's not that memorable, which is fine. I mean, not saying a movie has to be, but if I feel like maybe 4 stars and above for me are usually kind of like very memorable movies for me, or movies that have kind of an impact, and this one just didn't really do it for me. But it is generally entertaining, so there you go. Now that the awesome review is over, let me just say a couple things. So yeah, I'm gonna try to do reviews on movies, video reviews. This was my first attempt. I thought, like, what if I did it in a park or something, or like, wouldn't that be epic? So I tried that, and this was the result. It's very hot. I might not comment if you enjoy the outdoor situation, or if you think it's stupid. That's a possibility as well. Yeah, so my kind of thoughts on this is it's going to be a little bit of rambling. a little bit of, I might go on tangents. Like, my idea for it is you could watch the entire video audio only and still like get a good experience. So like, I'm not gonna stop like if I go on tangents that almost have nothing to do with the movie, I will still include it in the video. It'll almost be like very miniature podcasts in a way, but I'll still try to cut it up and organize it in a way that, you know, is better digestible. I also have another channel in which I try to make short films, and I'm just kind of making one at a time. I'm cooking up something right now, I won't lie. It's called AquaticToaster, capital A, capital T, no space. And the link is in the description to that channel. So that's kind of awesome. And yeah, and actually there's a short film that I want to make right now that does have a, in my opinion, a very big similarity to Longlegs. I wouldn't say it was inspired, but it just has a similarity. I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, I guess that was that.